Hi, I'm Ron Christie with NOFA, New Hampshire, and here I am at Living Earth Farm in the basement of the house. Today I'm going to show you another wick irrigation system. Okay, this is primarily for seedlings and transplants. As you can see, I have a tray here of seedlings that I actually started about, I want to say 2.5 weeks ago. They're growing really well, but it's time to transplant them. But we're going to do that in a little bit. First, I want to show you this whole system. All right, this is actually a really kind of cool system. This is another wick irrigation process for watering my plants. What I have is a tray right here down below. That is the water receptacle. And then I have my plant material above the water. And then if I turn this around, you can see that there's a wick right over here that runs from the tray underneath, comes up, and then goes into this little basket and runs on the bottom of this tray and waters all of these plants. So if I pull this plant out right here, you can actually feel the moistness on the cup. You also see some of the roots that are now growing out of the cup, which tells me it's time to transplant these. So let me show you how I made this system. I'm just going to set this aside for the time being. I'm going to put it right over here. And I'm going to show you the two pieces of equipment that I have. I have a tray, all right, and this is watertight. And I have this rack that sits inside here. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take something very simple and easy. These are called handy wipes, all right, and they are great wicking material. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my tray. I'm just going to measure how big and how deep these need to be and go. And then I'm going to take it, fold it over, and see where this lands on this tray. So I have the line that's running right here, and I can put this wick right over here. What I'm going to do is I'm also going to, I cut a piece of tape, and I'm just going to tape it just to make sure it stays in place here. I'm going to put one right there, and I'm going to grab another wick. Let me show that to you. You can see the piece of tape. And then I'm going to take the second one, put it the same level, tape this also, and then fold this over. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a couple of pieces of wood, put one at one end, one in the middle, and one over here. And now you can see how it's set up. Next thing I'm going to do, I take my rack, put it right on top. Let me turn this way so you can see how it is. And then I simply fold this over to make sure it covers the entire bottom. And now it's almost ready for my plant material. There's one additional thing that I want to do, because this is going to sit under hot lights. I'm going to take this, just an ordinary plastic bag, and I'm going to slit the sides. You can use any other kind of plastic you want. Slit this side. Cut the end off. Cut the other end off. And finally, I'm going to cut it down the middle. And that is going to go over the edge and keep excess moisture from wicking away by the lights that are there. Just tuck that right in like that. And so now, your plant material will sit right in here, just like this. And the water will wick up into the plant and water your plant constantly at the appropriate level. All you need to do is to keep this container with some water, and it's really simple to fill the water up in this, and you don't fill the tray up. All you're doing is you're putting about a ½ inch of water in the base, and what you want to make sure you don't do is flood the entire chamber with water. Just has to go in the last bottom 1/2 inch. let me show you on this tray. It's really important that the water doesn't come above this right here, because otherwise your root systems will be actually sitting in the water. To water these, just pour the water right in here. It usually takes almost a whole container like this. Now I'm just going to check to see how much water we have in there. It's just halfway up to the boards, which is perfect. So now I've watered all of my plants, and I haven't had to spray them or water on top, which causes disease, all that sort of stuff. Now this plant is ready to go back in its spot, and it's good to go. Okay, so now we have our plants over here that are ready to be transplanted. As you can see, this tomato is pretty decent size, and the roots are popping out of the bottom. So I need to transplant this into a larger container, and I'm going to choose to use this peat pot right here. Normally I don't like using peat pots because if you put them in the soil they dry out really fast. However, one of the things that's really cool about a peat pot is you can actually use it in a wick irrigation system. So I'm going to show you how we're going to do that. So let me show you how we're going to build our wick irrigation. I'm going to set these aside for the time being. Alright, and I have a container. Again, this is going to hold my water. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these blocks of wood, put them in here, and this is going to be the support for my tray. I'm going to show you in a minute. My tray is right behind me, and this is an ordinary shelf that you would buy at Lowe's or Home Depot or something like that. You take it, you simply pop it in. As you can see, the wood is supporting the trays. These are about 3.5 inches from the top. All right, and that's what supports the plant material. So how am I going to wick it? All right, well, I'm going to take these cloths. These are actually just terry cotton towels, and I'm going to raise this up, make sure that this covers it the whole way, and then now I have my wick. It's already down at the bottom of the tray. I'm going to take another one to finish the rest of it. Again, I'm going to raise this up, pop it down. Alright, as you can see, here is my whole system set up. Alright, and then I'm just going to double make sure by looking in, yep, the wick is already down to the bottom of the container, which is the important thing. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to fill up my box with some potting mix. Potting mix in here. I'm going to take my tomato, pop it right in. I'm going to grab a little bit more potting mix, fill it in. Of course, I'm making a mess. I wouldn't actually do this over this, but it is what it is for now. Now I have my container, and that will sit right on the tray. And when you fill a whole bunch of them, they will go right across like that, and they will go across this way, and I can fit 5 containers in this, actually 4 maybe. Alright, we'll fit 4, and just fill up the whole tray, and this is what my plant material will sit on over the next 2 weeks. Water will wick right up the cloth, right through into these containers, and right into my tomato plants and water the tomato plants. So this is how I keep all my plant material watered with minimal effort. So I'm never ever watering on top of the plants, creating disease or whatever the case may be. When it comes time to transplant, what I'm doing is I'll just take this is ready to go in the ground. This whole pot will be wet, probably a little bit moldy. I'm going to peel the top off so that I get the pot below the soil line, all right, so that it doesn't wick water into the moisture, which would happen, which normally does happen whenever you're using a peat pot. That's why I don't like peat pots, but in this system, they work really, really well. All right, so now that you've seen how I pot my plants, how I use a wick irrigation system in the house, and even to contain my transplants. All right. The next step is to show you how to use wick irrigation in a container with a receptacle of water on the side. And we're going to use the same plant material, and we're going to go now put this plant material in a different wick system. Thank you, and please donate